Hey guys, welcome back to Teth and Props. Today I'm going to show you how I went about making Thranduil's lightsaber. So this is based off his sword that he uses in The Hobbit. This is essentially the hilt of the sword, and then the blade was a thick blade that comes off the end there. And this one has a white lightsaber blade in it. So these fit your standard 1-inch lightsaber blades, and they're really bright. So really happy with how this one's turned out. So let's get to how I made it. I started off with finding a 3D model of Thranduil's sword and chop and changed it a little bit. I definitely changed the proportions a lot to make it fit the internals for the electronics of the lightsaber blade, but I'll put a link down below to the original design that I used for this. So next came printing it. So I printed this on my Anycubic Mono X, so great printer. So this was a really big print, especially the pommel section. So it was good to have the Mono X because I could print it in essentially one large piece. So once they were printed, it was time to just clean up the parts. So I did that with the usual, clean them off with a paper towel, and then clean them in some isopropyl alcohol, and then some warm soapy water after that. And after that, it was time to start prepping the parts. So I've got the two parts of the lightsaber here, and when you're 3D modeling, you can't really get a good feel for the lightsabers until you get it printed. And I had a worry that this might be the case, but this bottom bit here is just super chunky. I'm happy with the width of the actual lightsaber up here and the length of it, but that pommel is just ginormous. So I'm gonna have to go back and redo the 3D model on this one, but on this lightsaber, I'm just gonna sand it down to the right shape. So actually looking at his sword, there's a bit of a curve that goes across and then it bevels out. So I'm just gonna go to the belt sander and just work it down to a better shape, because yeah, it's pretty big, pretty chunky. Gonna make it look a lot better if I put some shape to it. All right, let's go do that. So I've sanded down the pommel a lot, and I'm actually really happy with how that looks. So still a little chunky, so I might have to rejig the design slightly, but yeah, really happy with how that looks. The next stage I need to do is start assembling it. So I've got a couple extra things. I've got some PVC core, a coupler for the handle, and a coupler for the lightsaber blade. So we can pretty much just start gluing stuff in. So I'm just going to go cut off the excess, clean that up, and I'll be right back. So these two bits join together perfectly like that. Make sure to line it up. All right, so now I need to just drill the hole for where the button will come through for the electronics. So I've got my drill with a stepper bit on there, and just drill it out. It is time to start painting. So first layer of paint will just be a grey primer as normal. So I'm going to go do that now, and we'll see what it looks like. Put down grey primer first because it lets you see any imperfections or anything like that, things you need to fix up, but then if that's all fine, then we can continue with the painting. So there's the parts painted in black. So grey primer first, then black, looking really good. These are now ready for a gloss silver to go over the top of it. So I'm going to use an enamel paint. So the reason I've used black is because it gives it a nice base color for silver and makes the silver look a lot nicer. So I'm going to go paint these silver now, and we'll come back. All right, so that is the lightsaber with the silver paint on it, looking really good. Now it's time to go ahead and do the inlays in black. So I have this gloss black acrylic paint, going to work really well. Got my precision brush. I'm just going to go and add it all in. There'll definitely be some overflow, so I'll just rub it off with some paper towel, but we're going to go back in and weather it later. So if a little bit comes out and it spreads a little bit, that's fine, because it'll just look like extra weathering. So let's get started. All right, that's then painted. We're just gonna leave those, let it dry for a little bit, and then we'll come back and do some weathering. So now it's time to weather this. So I've got some watered down black paint that I'm just gonna put on, rub off the excess, and just leave it in the grooves and everything like that, and it'll give it a really nice effect. So I've got the lightsaber pretty much complete, but now it's time to do the electronics. So I use these 200 lumen Arlec LED torches that have a USB charging port in them. So these are really good because they're bright, they're really compact, they've got a USB charging port, and they've got everything I need. So first I just start pulling it apart. The lens just pops out of the end there. And now I've got to screw this apart. And then you can slide out the internals and pop out the button. So those are all the parts I need to salvage. I can chuck the rest out, and you can see the light is really bright and perfect. So the other thing I need is just this spacer, which is a slice of a clear acrylic tubing, and then obviously the tape to put it together. So I use tape to put this together because it makes it non-permanent. So if I ever want to go back and change the colors or anything like that, I can definitely do that. So I've decided I'm going to go white blade for this lightsaber. So essentially what it is just this light without any color filters in it. So I've got the spacer, then I take the lens, and with a piece of clear tape, I put that over the top, and that's just to hold it down without obstructing the light at all. And then we just fully tape it down around the outside, and that is how we get a white lightsaber. So I've just got to bulk up the light with a bit more tape so it fits nice and snug into the lightsaber, because as I said, we want this to be removable and non-permanent. We don't want to glue it in or anything like that, and I don't want any screws on the outside, so tape with friction fit is the way that I want to go. And these lightsabers are not for combat or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about the internals getting damaged from excessive force or anything like that. So tape works just fine, and I found that it's the best way to do this in a non-expensive but also really, it works. It works quite well. And then we just slide it up as far as it needs to go until you see the button line up there. And if we just take tweezers, we can insert the button into the right spot. Just like that. There we go, guys. So that pretty much finishes up the lightsaber. And there you go, guys, that is how I made Thranduil's lightsaber based off his swords that he uses in The Hobbits, and I'm really happy with how that's turned out. I might have gone a little bit heavy on the weathering, so maybe in the next ones I'll dial down the amount of weathering that I do on it, but really happy with how that's turned out. So it fits your 1-inch lightsaber blades. These are your standard lightsaber blade sizes. So I'm really happy with how this has turned out. It looks amazing with the white blade, and overall it's a really sturdy feeling lightsaber. You can get a good two-handed grip, and yeah, it feels like a quite a powerful lightsaber, which is good. Hope you guys enjoyed this build. Check out my other Lord of the Rings inspired lightsabers. Leave a comment down below what you want me to make next, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks very much, guys.